Most people think they know how to squat, but 9 out of 10 are doing it completely wrong and don't even realize it. This mistake could be setting you up for serious knee and back injuries down the road. I'm about to show you the exact technique that will not only keep you safe, but will also unlock strength gains you never thought possible. And I'll tell you about the college athlete who thought he was doing everything right until one squat changed his entire athletic career. If you've been squatting for months or even years and you're not seeing the results you want, or worse, you're dealing with pain in your knees or lower back, there's a good chance you're making one of the most common squatting mistakes that I see in the gym every single day. Today, I'm going to break down the proper squatting technique step by step. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to squat safely and effectively. But first, let me share what happened when I ignored my own advice. Here's the thing that nobody talks about. Squatting incorrectly doesn't hurt you right away. You can squat with terrible form for months, even years, and your body will adapt. You'll think everything is fine because the weight on the bar keeps going up. But here's what's really happening underneath the surface. Your knees are taking a beating. Your lower back is compensating for problems it shouldn't have to deal with. And your hip mobility is getting worse every single session. The scary part? Most people don't realize there's a problem until it's too late, until they hear that pop in their knee or feel that sharp pain in their back that doesn't go away. I learned this the hard way 3 years ago. I was squatting 315 pounds regularly, feeling strong and confident. My ego was through the roof because I was one of the stronger guys in my gym. Then one Tuesday morning, during what should have been an easy warm-up set at 225, I felt something shift in my lower back. Not a sharp pain, just a weird feeling. I brushed it off and kept going. 2 weeks later, I couldn't tie my shoes without wincing. The pain had gotten so bad that I had to sleep on the floor because my bed was too soft. That's when I realized I had been making the exact mistakes I'm about to show you. I see this all the time. People who've been squatting for 2 or 3 years suddenly can't walk upstairs without pain. They start telling everyone that squats are bad for your knees. But the truth is, squats aren't the problem. The technique is the problem. The biggest issue I see is what I call the hybrid mistake. People take the bar position from one type of squat, the depth from another type, and the knee movement from a third type. They create this Frankenstein squat that puts all the stress in the wrong places. And the worst part, they have no idea they're doing it. But there's one particular case that shocked me more than any other, and it involves a Division I football player who thought he had perfect form. That's exactly what happens when you mix squat techniques. Your body becomes a house built with mismatched architectural plans, and eventually, something gives way. Let me break down the 2 main types of squats you need to understand: high bar and low bar. Getting this wrong is where most people mess up their entire squat, and it's probably why Marcus ended up needing surgery. High bar squat technique. With a high bar squat, the barbell sits right on top of your trap muscles, almost on your neck. Your grip should be as narrow as your shoulder mobility allows. This position forces you to stay upright throughout the entire movement. Here's the key part that most people get wrong. Your knees must move forward as you go down. I know you've probably heard that your knees should never go past your toes, but that's completely wrong for a high bar squat. Your knees need to travel forward to keep the weight balanced over the middle of your foot. Think about it like this. If the bar is high on your back and you try to keep your knees back, where does all that weight go? It goes straight to your lower back. That's why so many people hurt their backs squatting. The high bar squat lets you go deeper than any other squat variation. You should be going down until your hip crease is well below your knee level. This full range of motion is what builds incredible strength and flexibility in your ankles, knees, and hips. But here's what nobody tells you about the high bar squat. There's a specific breathing pattern that can make or break your performance. And I'll reveal that secret technique in just a moment. Low bar squat technique. Now, the low bar squat is completely different. The bar sits much lower on your back, right on the back of your shoulders, not on your traps. You'll need a wider grip to hold the bar in this position comfortably. Here's where it gets tricky. Everything about your movement changes. You must lean forward more to keep the bar balanced over your foot. But as you lean forward, you need to push your hips back, not let your knees come forward. If you let your knees travel forward in a low bar squat, you're asking for trouble. All that stress goes right into your knee joint. Instead, think about sitting back into a chair that's behind you. Your hips move back first, then you bend your knees. You don't need to go as deep with a low bar squat, just until your hip crease drops slightly below your knee level. That's it. Going deeper doesn't give you any benefit and just makes it harder to stand back up. The low bar squat is all about moving the most weight possible. Powerlifters use this variation because it allows them to lift heavier loads than any other squat variation. Remember Marcus, the football player I mentioned? His mistake was subtle but devastating. And it's probably the same mistake you're making right now, without realizing it. The deadly hybrid mistake. This is where most people go wrong, and it's exactly what happened to Marcus. They put the bar in a high position but then lean forward like it's a low bar squat. Or they put the bar low but try to stay upright and let their knees come forward. This hybrid approach is a recipe for injury. Marcus was doing something even more subtle. He had the bar position right, his depth was perfect, but he was shifting his weight distribution mid-squat. At the bottom of his squat, he would unconsciously shift from his heels to his toes, putting massive shear force through his knee joint. Frame-by-frame analysis revealed this tiny movement that his coaches never caught. When you mix these techniques, all the stress goes to your knees and lower back. You might be able to do this for a while, but eventually, something's going to give. I've seen people need surgery because they spent years squatting with this hybrid technique. The scary part? Most people making this mistake feel strong and confident, just like Marcus did. But there's a simple test you can do right now to check if you're at risk, and I'll show you that test in the next section. Flexibility requirements. Your flexibility directly impacts which squat style will work best for you. If you have limited ankle flexibility, you won't be able to let your knees come forward properly in a high bar squat. This forces your lower back to round, which puts dangerous stress on your spine. Limited hip mobility causes your knees to cave inward as you squat down. This puts stress on your knee ligaments and can cause serious problems over time. If your upper back is tight, you won't be able to hold the bar properly. Your chest will drop, putting even more stress on your lower back. Here's the good news. Flexibility can be improved. It's not something you're just stuck with. It takes consistent work, but anyone can improve their mobility with the right approach. But there's one flexibility problem that's more dangerous than all the others combined, and most people have no idea they even have it. Finding your foot position. There's no single foot position that works for everyone. Your hip structure, ankle mobility, and leg length all play a role in determining your ideal stance. Start without any weight. Try different foot widths and toe angles until you find a position where you can squat down comfortably. Your heels should stay flat on the ground, your knees should track over your toes without caving in, and your lower back should stay neutral. Generally, high bar squats work better with a narrower stance and toes pointed out more. Low bar squats usually work better with a wider stance and toes pointing more forward. But this is just a starting point. You need to find what works for your body. Here's a weird trick I learned from a mobility specialist that can instantly improve almost anyone's squat stance. And it involves something you probably have in your kitchen right now. Programming your squats. This is where most people make their biggest mistake. They try to lift heavy too soon. Your muscles, joints, and ligaments need time to adapt to the stress of squatting. I recommend spending at least a year focusing on technique and building volume with lighter weights before you even think about testing your 1-rep max. This builds a strong foundation that will support heavier lifting later. Too many people try to follow programs designed for athletes who've been lifting since they were kids. If you're starting later in life, you need to be more conservative with your approach. Take the time to learn proper technique now, and you'll be squatting pain-free for decades to come. Subscribe for more training tips that actually work.